Hi, my name's Brenda Herchmer, and I'm the owner of Grassroots Enterprises and a new tech startup called Campus for Communities of the Future. I'm not actually all that involved with any one particular Chamber of Commerce, but I've been doing a fair bit of work with a number of them. The most successful of those that I'm working with are the ones who've really served as a catalyst for collaboration that brings together other businesses, nonprofit organizations, and government together. And I think what a lot of other futurists are starting to refer to this kind of work as is mesh work. What the futurists are finding is that it's becoming more and more difficult to predict what's coming at us. All they will agree on is that the trends and the change is going to come at us fast and furious. And the communities and the regions that are going to be most successful in responding to that fast pace and the complexity that we're being faced with increasingly, the ones that will be successful are those and thrive are going to be those that have strong and trusted relationships, networks, and webs. And so that collaboration is absolutely critical. I think that if the industrial era, if we think about that as being about building things, then this new era is much more about a social era. It's much more about connecting things and people and ideas, and I think the social era is going to reward organizations that realize they don't create value all by themselves. The next question that was asked was really, what examples of community collaboration have you been a part of or driven directly? I've been more of a coach working with communities, and in that role have worked with over 60 communities across the province of Alberta here in Canada. And the most successful communities have really started with different projects. What's really critical is that it's something that's seen by the entire community as being meaningful and relevant to their community. And a lot of times they tend to be initiatives that really focus on the quality of life in that community. So it's been everything from artist cooperatives to community directories and websites to community park makeovers, a community photography contest and calendar from one community that was really struggling with a need to create more pride in their community. We've seen communities work on community trails, concert series, cultural festivals, healthy communities alliances. One smaller community started a new tradition of movies in the park that brought together a lot of different businesses and organizations to celebrate and to bring families and kids together. Another community worked on initiating a Good Neighbors Day. So definitely a lot of collaboration involved for each of those projects. What are some successes and challenges you've experienced? What works and what hasn't? You know, I think the best way that I can find to really describe what works is really when the collaboration understands that power and uses power differently. I think power used to come largely through and from institutions, and I think today power can and does come from connected individuals in community. And power really comes from the way you work with others, and I think that's why that kind of understanding is important for chambers. When a community collaborates, it means a community invests in an idea, and then it also co-owns its success. I think there's just a greater receptiveness to change and more commitment to ideas and plans, you know, when people are involved from the very beginning. So if we get an understanding of sharing power, then we're going to end up with greater results. Organizations that let go at the top, you know, when they let go of who gets the credit, they let go of proprietary claims, and they avoid the hierarchy, they're the ones that are more agile, more flexible, and I think ultimately more poised to leap from opportunity to opportunity. And you know, I think they sacrifice the short-term payoffs for longer-term prosperity. And I think part of that, you know, what makes it successful is really investing in community building and understanding that that's a crucial foundation for change and growth. And I guess, what works then, what leads to that is really banking on more openness, more vulnerability, I suppose, and certainly more transparency in terms of the work. So what do you think would improve community collaboration? And I can tell you from all the work that I've been doing, it really is as simple and as complex as understanding that communities get better when their leaders do. And it's a different kind of leadership. It's really rejecting the idea that one person has all the answers. And it doesn't matter who has the most formal position of authority or what they have in terms of skills or knowledge or experience. It really is understanding that it doesn't matter how talented you are. One single individual, regardless of how skilled they are, they're no longer enough to meet the complex challenges that we face today. What we really need to do is think more about collective leadership. And that's why I think chambers are so well positioned to take on that role of collaboration and bring together collective leadership. It's more an interdependent kind of leadership where what we do is work together to share information, we create plans, we influence each other, we make decisions together, and as a result it's more about a network of leaders. And it's also then getting away from leadership as a person or a role to understanding leadership as a process. What we've learned as a way to explain that as well is that a leader's job is not these days about solving the problem. It's more about ensuring a process that brings together a diverse set of stakeholders to solve it themselves. One of the sayings we have on our team is that the weirder the mix, the better the fix. So the more diverse the group of stakeholders, the better the solutions are going to be. Everyone really needs to think of themselves as a leader. It's not about the formal position. It's less about the leader and more about the process and the system and the collaboration that results. What that means is that we all need to think of ourselves as agents of change. We all need to be more committed to continuous improvement. We all need to get better at becoming systems thinkers and looking at the big picture of our communities. And something a lot of people don't talk about is how important it's going to be for us to be catalysts for citizens' responsibilities. None of us can do this alone, so we really need to engage our community. We also, to make our communities attractive places where communities and the kind of communities where we want to live, work, and play, the kind of communities that will attract businesses, we all need to get better at advocating for quality of life and really looking at the other side of the ledger. It's not all about making money, that we really have to look at what makes a community the kind of place where we want to be. And then I think the other thing as leaders, and what is essential to this collaboration, is understanding how to plan using a community development approach. So it's really ultimately looking at leadership because that's what's going to ensure our success. And really thinking of leadership as a process that builds relationships. And it's those relationships that result in collaborative direction and more innovation and bottom line, more commitment to make things happen.